Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Montreal Canadiens franchise mode series here on NHL 18, and today we begin the sim on the 2020-2021 season. Of course, in the last episode, we went through the off-season. We finally made some sweeping changes. Now, we didn't change everything. And I mentioned that I wasn't sure if I still wanted to go just with the slight retooling or just go scorched earth. Now, if we went scorched earth, Pacioretty, maybe even Drouin, Gallagher would be gone. And when you look at players that could be moved this season, if we, really still kind of struggle, there's still a decent chance Pacioretty's moved at some point, even Gallagher. Defense, it's pretty much completely different with the exception of Mete and Juleson finally making the team. And then, of course, there's what the hell do we do with Carey Price? And I've mentioned it so much throughout the series, wanting to stay loyal to the plan. And, yeah, Lehkonen, Hudon, Sherbak, they didn't quite work out. But it might not be worth completely giving up at this point in time. As it stands, we have a pretty solid team here, at least in my opinion. A decent top six, a fairly good defensive third line. You get a little bit of physicality with Greer, Shore, and McCarron. On defense, it's a little bit questionable, and we do have a little bit of a scare. And of course, we still have the best goaltender in the game, in the world, between the pipes for us. But here's the one fear right now, and it comes when we look at contracts that are expiring next season or at the end of this season. We have Gallagher, who is looking for a bit of a raise. No real surprise there. We can try to get him on a decent contract, to be honest. Now again, the 85% trick to re-sign a player for cheap, it's very hit or miss and rarely does it work. But to start this contract, extension talk with Gallagher, we're going to give it a try. We're going to see what he says. We'll be able to knock it down to 3.85, which is barely a raise over what he's making now. And if he's willing to accept that, that's incredible. Philip Deneau, looking to make a decent amount of money. He deserves it. I'm more than happy to give it to him, but I'd be much, much happier to only pay him $2.7 million. We'll see if the 85% trick works. Mike McCarron, solid enough fourth liner. Glad to keep him. We'll see if he's willing to take that little bit of a pay cut. We'll be able to knock this down to 1.475. Not bad for a fourth liner. Victor Mete, who of course is, finally making the NHL, which is nice. Of course, with the newest roster update, by default, he's now a 78. So, would have been nice to have him at this point, a few seasons ago. The problem is very obviously Matt Dumba, and whether or not we're going to have the money to re-sign him, whether or not he changes his mind and wants to sign, that is the biggest problem right now. We, of course, don't have to worry about it with our goaltending. We do have some players whose contracts are up, but it's not exactly a disaster for us. I'm sure we'll be able to get Will Bitton, Benson, Geeky, and Girard back whenever we feel like it. It's just a matter of, can I save that little bit of extra money by re-signing these players using the whole 85% trick? Can I save a little bit of money? And on top of that, can we somehow convince Matt Dumba to stay? Because if he doesn't want to stay, then we run into the problem of potentially having to trade our best defenseman. Now, case in point, at least for Mike McCarron, the trick worked. 85. It's not even a trick, but it worked for Gallagher as well. So it's nice to see that that can still work. Philip Deneau, Mete, they all accepted. So that is tremendous to be able to re-sign these guys for a little bit cheap, to get a bit of a favorable contract there. And we'll double check with Dumba. He's not going to want to magically re-sign now, but I want to see how much money we're going to have to be able to give him. And we have enough to meet his demand. So what we're going to do is we'll keep an eye out on Matt Dumba throughout the year. We'll see if he becomes more willing to accept a contract extension. And even if he doesn't, we can sit there and, just throw a ton of money at him and be okay. And if he declines at that point, we, ship him out of here at the deadline. By the way, the line combos, of course, I changed it up compared to what we had at the end of the last episode. Pacioretty on the left wing. Jonathan Drouin, we switched him back to a center playmaker to complement Pacioretty. And Puljujarvi, we switched over to a right wing. I forget what video it was. I think it was a Montreal video. Someone mentioned that it's like cheap or whatever to change player types or like their position. It happens in real life, There are plenty of examples of someone who is more offensive that, depending on what their team is, they had to turn into more of a kind of defensive role. So, just saying, in general, I don't really understand how anyone could view that as cheap, but I really like that top line. Second line, Galchenyuk is now back on the left wing. We did move Gallagher to center. If you look at him and Galchenyuk, pretty much identical defensive categories, so it's not too bad, and we'll see how well Galchenyuk can work with Kasperi Kapanen, which, let's be honest, that was a little bit of a steal to get Kasperi Kapanen for what we did, to steal him away from Toronto. That was pretty damn sweet. We also changed Mete from an offensive to a two-way, and Juleson from a two-way to a defensive D-man. And there were quite a few changes for the forwards down in the AHL, just kind of optimizing them based on what their best stats are. Like Norris, we changed from a playmaker to a sniper, simply because Farabee's already a playmaker. So we'll see how the Laval Rocket can do. Anyway, that pretty much covers everything. Let's get to Simmons, shall we? We need, of course, to, like I said, keep an eye out on Matt Dumba. And I'd say that really depends on how we do this season, which I don't know. We still have the champion team status for what that's worth, but I just can't say for sure how well we'll actually do this season. There's just no way of knowing. Now, let's see here. You know what? We're going to scout forwards for another 2 weeks. I want to go a month in each CHL league. Try to get a little bit more accurate information after the... we've had some hit or miss drafts in this series so far. It's always going to be that way. Like I said, I'm not the best at drafting, and in terms of just how the scouting system works, it might not be the greatest. Am I blaming the game? Kind of, sort of. I've mentioned this story on Twitch numerous times, where we had a player scouted out for 17 weeks. They showed up as high elite potential, and you draft them, and they're low top 9. So the only potential you can trust when drafting is exact. But the fact that you can scout somebody 18 times and still don't have exact potential on them is a little bit ridiculous. Especially when, you go to scouting, and it's like, oh, your accuracy for this region is a B. And it's like, oh, well, I can't change that at all, so that's cool. Shouldn't I be able to kind of say, like, hey, I want more emphasis on this region? Apparently not. It's just one of those things. Anyway, we have one game left in October. Can we get to 8-4 to start the year? Yes, we can. So not too bad. The 2 straight losses to Calgary and Florida kind of sucked, being outscored 9-4 over those 2 games. We were also shut out by Edmonton. But that's not a terrible start to the season. Through 12 games, what kind of pace are we on? We're actually in first place in our division, and Alex Galchenyuk actually leads the team in points right now. 12 points in 12 games. He and Kasperi Kapanen clearly getting along pretty well. 6 points for Pacioretty. Let's take a look here. 7 for Drouin and 6 for Puljujarvi. All right. Of course, 12 points for Galchenyuk. Gallagher, in fairness, doing a little bit better than I would have expected with 11 points. And Kasperi Kapanen. It's more Gallagher. It's more Gallagher than Galchenyuk, but that second line is delivering. 6 points for Frolik, 6 points for Deneau, 4 points for Melker Karlsson. Greer, Shore, and McCarron. They are struggling just a little bit. That kind of puts my fourth line, kind of defensive grind line, to shame. We'll see if they can hopefully turn that around. And on defense, the plus minuses are looking okay. It's looking good. Carey Price with a 967. How have we lost a game? I'm glad Carey Price has rebounded. I'm really glad Carey Price has rebounded. Because again, I haven't been completely happy with him so far throughout this series. I don't understand how we've lost a game with him having that save percentage. I really don't. That is insane. and I'm glad he's come into the season clearly motivated to do well, as Morgan Geekie goes down to injury for the Laval Rockets. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go best lines. And let's see here. Puts in Nasty Nick Tarnasky. Do we want to go with Paille instead? No, we want to go with Derek Wanvig. So let's make sure good old Derek Wanvig gets a chance. He will play on the right side. And we'll go Bitten, Stelio. All right, we're good. Yep, we're good. Quick and easy. And yeah, Oscar Mahler did change to a playmaker. It's working out fairly well so far. So there you go. The team is looking good. Let's see what happens as we continue through the month of November. We start the month off with a 6-1 win over Vegas and a 3-2 win over the St. Louis Blues. Again, I don't know really what to expect. Did I screw up the scouting? Did I accidentally scout the WHL again? Well, if I did, whatever. It's too late to change it now, right? It is. It's too late to change it now. I'm not sure what happened there. 8-1 win over New Jersey. Oh, my God. 5-game winning streak, too, to start the month. Make it 6. The Habs are on a roll. Make it 7. And then it finally comes to an end with a loss to the Islanders. Oh, my God. What a point streak, as Morgan Geekie's going to be returning from injury. Holy hell, what a point streak for this team. Are you kidding me? What a run of form. That is absolutely ridiculous. Damn. All right, Tarnasky gets taken out for Jääskeläinen, and that's pretty much all we have to do. Unreal stuff. So, I mean, if you look at this point streak as Jared Spurgeon goes down, he's only out for a week or so it could have been worse. And on defense right now, we do have Quentin Hughes that we can call up. Bork would be waiver eligible. So that is something that could be a little bit concerning. Maybe it would be worth going out and signing a depth defenseman. For the moment, though, Quentin Hughes will get the chance at the NHL level. So let's go best lines here. That's good to go. And then down in the AHL, again, we'll go best lines. We will swap these two. And we'll take out Tarnasky for Jääskeläinen. And we're good. Kevin Ball gets a chance in the lineup. But it's like, if you look at this point streak, and then we ended up beating San Jose as well. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-game point streak. 12-game point streak. We won 11 of our last 12 games prior to that loss to Winnipeg. And then, of course, we ended up beating the San Jose Sharks right after that. So we'll go ahead and sim this game against the Leafs. It's a 6-5 win in overtime. And we reach December 1st with a record of 18-5-1. Now, I kind of expected this team to be half decent. I did not expect us to have 37 points in 24 games. It's crazy how certain changes can just spark something in a team. I mean, like I said, I'm really happy. I'm confident, I'm confident in how I set up this team, and I'm really happy with it. I didn't expect us to be this good. This is what we should have been last year, and we weren't. So we make these changes, and now here we are. We got a 12-point lead over Toronto. We just beat them, and we have a game at hand. That is absurd. 81 locker room chemistry. Let the good times roll here in Montreal. Max Pacioretty with 19 points, again in 24 games. You have 19 points for Drouin and 16 points for Puljujarvi. Not too bad. Alex Galchenyuk, 22 points in 24 games. You beauty. 19 points for Gallagher. And 19 points for Kasperi Kapanen. That top six is delivering right now. The third line, Michael Frolik with 14 points. What an addition he's been. 16 points for Philip Deneau. Again, so happy to have him here. He is like my perfect third line center. I love him. He's not going anywhere. And Melker Karlsson with 13 points. The fourth line, I mean, AJ Greer has 4 points. He's only a -1. Nick Shore with 6 points. And 6 points for McCarron. So they kind of sorted out the plus-minus. On defense, it has Gardner with Dumba, 7 points for Gardner, he's a +5. Dumba with only 9 points, +13. 9 points for Nurse, he's a +17. 4 points for Juleson. Of course, he is there right now because of the injury to Jared Spurgeon. And Mete with 2 points, he's a +5. Quentin Hughes, no points, but he is already a +1. And then the big question is Carey Price. Jesus! You think Carey Price is motivated this season, guys? Oh my god. That is the highest save percentage I have ever seen through 21 games. Holy hell. Carey Price playing like a man possessed right now. Literally, I could load up the game right now and it wouldn't be Carey Price. It'd be the brick wall from Gretzky 3D. That is insane, man. 954 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against average. 21 appearances, 17 wins. Carey Price is determined this season. Fukale, unfortunately, he's only played 4 times. He struggled a little bit. So that is a little bit concerning for him, but, you know, I'm willing to look past it at the moment. Let's keep simming. Carey Price, oh my god. As good as the rest of the team is looking, I had a feeling that he was, you know what, no, I gotta check player stats from around the league. I had a feeling Carey Price was doing that well for us to especially go on a run like that. And really quickly, actually. As it says, Jared Spurgeon is just about healthy enough to play. So we'll be getting him back soon, which is fine. We can send down Quentin Hughes. I need to take a look at the player stats and maybe sign a depth defenseman that can just kind of sit on the lineup. Or in the press box. They can be scratched. Let's see here. We got to look at league-wide save percentages. How far ahead is Carey Price? As Connor McDavid is leading the league in points. John Tavares with 26 points out in Minnesota. But goaltenders, Carey Price, the winningest goalie. No surprise. So he has a 954. The next closest for a starter is a 945, Matt Murray, which is crazy, by the way. That is insane for Matt Murray to have that save percentage. So, like, really, that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. There are some really high save percentages this season among starters. Wow. It's been a good year for goalies so far, but none better than Carey Price. Let me double check how many contract spots we have, just to make sure that it's worth it to sign. Oh, and we can check Dumba, but I think it just said no already. Yeah, it still says no. We'll keep an eye on it. Maybe he'll change his mind. If not, we just throw a boatload of money his way. We have 49 contracts. Oh, that's right, because we have players down in junior. So we're just going to have to rely on Quentin Hughes as our backup, you know, as our first depth option on defense. We also have Simon Bork, but again, he was waiver eligible because of his age. So we'll play this last game without Spurgeon, and then we have a home-and-home series against the Columbus Blue Jackets. We lost 5-4 to the Sabres. That is pretty disappointing. Spurgeon back. There he is. There he is. So we get Jared Spurgeon. Jared Spurgeon. God, I love Don Cherry. He's just... How can you explain Don Cherry? There's a lot of ways. I'm sure. It would take a while, too. But, man, that's one of my favorite Don Cherry moments, is Jared Spurgeon. I love it so much. I don't know why. It's so dumb, but I absolutely love it. Anyway, let's get this team set up. We'll take out Nick Tarnasky, and we are good to go. Simon Bork up to a 75, by the way. Again, we were contemplating bringing back Renat Valiev. Probably better to give this core, you know, this trio here, an opportunity, which is why we didn't bring him back. And actually, how are they doing? They're not doing too great, are they? Okay. Let's sim to the 19th, a little bit over 2 weeks, 15 days. And we'll see what we're looking like here. We beat Columbus and then lost the next one. So we split the home and home. Let's go OHL defense for a month. That way we don't have to worry about scouting for a bit. 6-0 win over Nashville. Not too shabby. And a 3-2 overtime loss against Minnesota, but at least we picked up the pity point against Tavares. We beat the Avalanche 3-2. And Kasperi Kapanen gets hurt for the rest of the month. Sore shoulder. All right, so the Bruins do a little bit of damage. That does mean that Josh Norris is going to get the opportunity. And much like let's be honest, much like a Mike Babcock team, what I'm going to do is call up somebody who can immediately fill that role. Rather than, bumping up our third line guy, I'm going to call somebody up who can immediately fill that role. And that's going to be Oscar Mahler, who is having a decent season for the Rocket. But you look at the passing, the 91 offensive awareness, we could lose him to waivers. But I'm going to call up Oscar Mahler and immediately put him on that second line rather than, bumping up McCarron or Melker Karlsson. So Mahler will get the chance, and we'll see how he can do with Galchenyuk and Gallagher. You could argue at this moment maybe changing Galchenyuk to a sniper, but we'll leave the two playmakers there for now. It's only going to be for a week or two. So we'll see how Oscar Mahler can do. I mean, if you look at the stats, it's pretty damn impressive. At least if you look at the attributes, I should say. We'll see whether or not that translates. So Tarnasky needs to be taken out. Actually, Tarnasky can stay. Or no. Nope, he can't. What am I saying? Wanvig, where were you? Wanvig is in the lineup. And let's see. Do we have anybody that was meant to be on the right? Stelio. That's why I was getting confused. Who's done the best so far? 3 points for Stelio, 9 points for Geeky, 9 points for Bitten. We'll go for Bitten. And then we'll also bump up Benson a little bit. There we go. I mean, I can understand why this team is struggling a little bit. Let's be honest here. Might not be the best team in the world. The goaltending is actually fairly solid, surprisingly. So it's unfortunate that they're struggling, but I am willing to tank the AHL season in the name of progression as we continue to trade wins and losses. 22-9-2 on the season, and we will go ahead and sim to the new year, January 1st. Let's go. As we should be getting Kasperi Kapanen back before that Pittsburgh game, which would be nice. We actually just lost 2 straight, and we've lost 3 out of our last 4 as we head into the Christmas break. Mahler did put up 4 assists. He only took 3 shots, but he had 4 points in 5 games. Those attributes, man. I had a feeling he would do pretty well. So he's a nice little call-up option for us if we need him, but he may not make it back through waivers. Let's find out. Did he make it? Yes, he did. All right, so Oscar Mahler made it. I had a feeling that he would. The game recognizes him, of course, as a 76 overall and nothing else. But Kasperi Kapanen is back. We'll go best lines. Mahler is back. He dropped down to a 75, but that's okay. Geeky is up to a 74. And we'll take out Tarnasky for Jaskalainen. Beautiful. Let the sim continue. We got one more game here against the Penguins. Can we get the win? Yes, we can. A 5-2 win. That brings us to January 1st, 2021. We have a 24-11-2 record. The Laval Rocket at 17-15-4. Again, no real surprise. I mean, the only option to improve that team would be to, get rid of some players, which isn't ideal. As you get a look at the division title race, yeah, Tampa's right there. Tampa caught up. No surprise with the way we were trading wins and losses. And of course, we know after last year that Tampa has an incredible team. But through 37 games, we have them beat by 2 points. We did kind of hit a bit of a rough stretch there. But we'll take a look at the stats. We'll see what's going on with the team at the moment. Max Pacioretty, through 37 games, has 34 points. He's our captain for a reason. That is a great start to this season for him. Jonathan Drouin, of course, we knew was a point-a-game player, 37 points in 37 games, leading the team. Jesse Puljujarvi, at 32 points in 37 games. So he's done a good job of catching up and nearly being a point-a-game player. I'm extremely happy with that top line. The second line, Galchenyuk, 31 points. Extremely happy with him. He hit the 58-point total mark the year prior, and he is well on his way to getting back to that. Brendan Gallagher, 18 goals, 14 assists. He hit 54 points last year. He's just, I mean, we're under halfway through the season, and, I mean, he is on pace to hit 36 goals. He had 28 last year. Ridiculous. And Kasperi Kapanen, of course, he missed a little bit of time, but he does have 22 points in 32 games. Not too bad. I mean, especially, too, it probably doesn't factor in, but he did miss all of last season as an RFA because of that contract dispute with Toronto. On the third line, 20 points for Frolik. He is well on his way to hitting his target. I like my third line guys to at least hit that 30-point mark minimum. He's 10 points away. He had 31 points last year, 43 the year before that. So I'm very happy so far with Frolik. Happy with Philip Deneau. Again, 21 points. He hit 34 last year, so he is on pace. And Melker Karlsson, in fairness, kind of the weak link of that third line, at least overall-wise, has 16 points in 37 games, on pace to hit the 30-point mark. Very happy with that. AJ Greer, 6 points. He's a -5. You know, again, you might not be able to get him to do exactly what you tell him to do in real life. Let's just, you know, like I've said, literally just skate around and hit anything that moves. Be a pest. So, I mean, I'm not too against that. Yes, of course, our fourth line could be better. To be honest, his wrist shot has improved. Might be worth changing him to a sniper. Nick Shore with 9 points. He's a -6. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm not totally against that. And then Mike McCarron with 9 points. To be honest, Greer as a sniper might work really well with McCarron, of course, as a power forward. And McCarron does have a good shot. I mean, you could argue he would be worth giving a try on the third line. So, I mean, right now he's the perfect fourth liner, really. On defense, it does have Spurgeon and Dumba together, which is not what I would prefer. Gardner has 10 points. He's a +4. 10 points for Nurse. He's a +16. So the big question, of course, is you get a look at the defensive numbers. Mete and Juleson are doing incredibly well. Matt Dumba, what's the situation? And Carey Price still has a .944 save percentage through 30 appearances. Unfortunately, Zachary Fucale is struggling. So our two biggest questions right now, do we think about changing the backup goaltender? And do we let go of Matt Dumba if he's not willing to re-sign? Of course, we are still going to try to re-sign him. Down in the AHL, Joel Farabee's having a strong season, as is Norris. Oscar Mahler's doing well. I mean, right now, I'm happy with these point totals. Morgan Geekie missed time. Leschyshyn, it's a little bit lower than what I would have wanted. Of course, that record isn't quite what you'd want it to be. But again, this season for this team is more about improvement. And if we do trade Fucale, it'd be worth getting someone who's, you know, just going to be the backup for the rest of the year, because Michael McNiven might be ready as of next season to be our backup goalie. So Fucale is really struggling at a really bad time for him if he actually wants to be here, you know, for a decent portion of his career. There are, of course, backup goalie options, I'm sure, that we could look at. Now, Dumba still doesn't want to sign. We have $6.8 million to offer. So I guess the first thing I'll do is... You know what? I think we'll just gradually offer him a bit more money. Like, I'll offer 5.5, I'll offer 5.8, and then 6. We'll start offering him a new deal in the next episode. And again, if he doesn't accept, we will move him out. We'll look to, you know, pretty much swap him with another defenseman who is, you know, equally as good. Of course, we can also keep an eye out on the Fucale situation and whether or not we should, I mean, we'll probably give him a couple of more games. And again, I'm not limited to just trading through the trade block, but I do find it to be much, much easier this year to get deals done, especially, I mean, you guys know me if you've been watching these series at this point. I like to actually win trades, or at least feel like I haven't been completely fleeced, unless, of course, it's evolving players where I don't really care if I have been completely fleeced. So there's that. But when it comes to any amazing players on the block, Okpozo's there, but we don't need him. Mark Giordano, but he's not too happy. Same story with Hjalmarsson. I'm mainly looking for a defenseman right now. Duncan Keith. How many years left on his deal? 3 years left, though. That's the problem. But still, I mean, Duncan Keith at $5.5 million. Would he be worth... I don't think he'd be worth trading Dumba for. But that would be a pretty interesting pickup. You also have Jack Johnson there, 2-year deal, though. 4 years left for Seabrook, good lord. So Duncan Keith is there. Cale Makar is there. That would really be a move for the future, though. As you got to look at Dumba's value, we could probably swing a Dumba for Makar deal. There'd have to be more pieces involved. That could potentially happen. And not to mention the trading blocks change as we, of course, approach the deadline. So there are possibilities. Demers isn't really one of them. Alec Martinez isn't ideal. Suter is not ideal. The only way Ryan Suter would be ideal is if they retained half of his salary. That's the only way. Otherwise, he's a Shea Weber. He's just another Shea Weber. Let's take a look here. Joe Veleno made it up to an 84. You got McDonough and Shattenkirk. That would be interesting, reacquiring Ryan McDonough. And to be honest, I mean, you look at him and Duncan Keith, he'd be the better guy to pick up. 6 years younger than Duncan Keith. Bringing Ryan McDonough back to Montreal. That, I mean, can you really say back to Montreal? But still, you get the point. That could be interesting. Not like, I mean, sending Dumba for him would be the ideal situation. It's just a possibility. And for the looks of it, we don't really have that many options, at least as far as cheap defensemen go. You got Hanula, but, I mean, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. McIsaac as well. Eric Branson, Alex Edler, John Merrill, TJ Oshie, Dmitry Orlov's there. So, I mean, right now, our best option for players that are on the block would be to go out and get Ryan McDonough. So, again, that's only if Dumba fails to re-sign. So, those are the two big question marks moving forward. What happens with Matt Dumba, and can Zachary Fucale kind of recover? You know what? I'm hoping. I don't know why. Call it stupidity. I have hope that we won't have to trade another member of what was supposed to be the core of this team. But we will find out the answers to those questions in the next episode, because for now, we are done here. I hope you did enjoy this episode. If you did, feel free to support the video in any way you deem necessary. Links are in the description to my Twitter and Twitch. Give me a follow on there on both platforms if you have not already. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Take it easy. Goodbye. Except for you, Tim. That's right, 2 videos today where I'm calling out Tim. I'm sick of it. Sick of it, Tim. Get your act together. We're worried about you. Unbelievable, Tim. I've ended 2 videos like this. I just mean in general, not just for today. I mean, just in general. But how else am I going to let Tim know he needs to get it together? You too, Derek. You too.